Today we're going to be checking out how's 2XKO Alpha Lab going from the devs on dev chat. It's from their YouTube channel. I've been very into this game. I've been trying to follow as much as I can on this game before release, and I was thankful and grateful enough, you know, to be invited into the beta / alpha or whatever was going on with it. You've seen 2 videos on the channel already about it. If you haven't, you can go check those out. Those are my worst performing videos in the last month, like actually only 20 views, which is ridiculous. I thought everybody was enjoying 2XKO, and if so, I guess y'all just, you know, fuck me, right? Anyways, let's jump into this. I want to see how they believe it's going currently. So, you know, I did hear they also have like a scheduled release date for 2025, which I don't know. Like I get it, but I was hoping to try to get that game before the end of the year. But I mean, 2024 is so booked with a lot of releases right now, and I'm sure they have a lot of things to flesh out in the game. I mean, the stuff that I've seen that they need to work on are you know, some of the combo scaling, maybe the speed of the game, you know, either making it a little faster or a little slower depending on the character. Like I sent them a message telling them that Aloy should be slightly faster, not too much faster, but slightly faster. I know the dashes feel very sluggish to me personally, you know. Just when you jump into the game, it doesn't feel as quick paced as a lot of other fighting games that are in its similar style. So it just felt a little awkward jumping in, and then of course once you get used to it, you get used to it, but sometimes it feels like I'm stuck to the ground, or in a sense. And I feel like in a fighting game like this, you should feel like you can kind of do a whole bunch of different things, especially depending on who you're playing with. So maybe just some tweaking to specific characters, not necessarily the entire game. But if they were to do anything with the entire game, I would definitely say it would be like the game speed should be worked on in the combo scaling. I don't see anything else other than that. Of course, adding in way more characters would be nice. But if you're enjoying the vibes, make sure you subscribe. I really appreciate it, as it helps us the channel and the algorithm, helps me grow. And you know, I just appreciate all that. Let's jump into this. And of course, I talk a whole bunch, so you know, I'll talk here and there whenever I feel like there's a point that I want to, like, you know, narrate or give my thoughts on. So, you know, just be forewarned. Some people really don't like people, you know, reacting to things.
I am Jules JP, the community manager of 2XKO, and we're joined by
Jules.
Sean, I'm the game director.
Jules JP.
Yeah, so we wanted to just talk to everybody because there's been a lot of really good feedback and discussion about 2XKO, the Alpha Lab, right?
Absolutely.
So let's get into it. I have my phone here because we have all of the notes and things we want to talk about. Yeah,
awesome.
This is very off the cuff. So
also,
let's go and
those.
do it.
Cool.
Those those looks really nice. I'd like to have one of those for 2XKO.
A ton of really cool clips.
The arcade machines.
A lot of folks streaming. A lot of cool events, exhibitions, tournaments, and yeah, we've been seeing.
Yeah, I want to do a stream for 2XKO, really, but you know, 20 views.
I've been seeing, you know, people pairing up, people on.
Clearly, people don't like to see me play it.
Some hilarious moments, some pop-offs. So yeah, it's been really, really cool to watch.
There's been a lot of discussion around it too, and all the feedback, which is what we really wanted to get from this.
Yep.
So a lot of it was around core gameplay. There's been discussions around how long the combos are, that there's touches of death, complexity, tutorials.
Oh, yeah, you know, that's another thing. I did let them know. Dying from chip damage should be, just take that out of all games, like fighting games. I understand taking chip damage. I'm not opposed to taking and receiving chip damage, but death by chip damage is absurd. I feel like you should definitely have it stop or cap off at like 20%, 15%, whatever percentage health that you want. Like, just have a percentage health set in there where chip damage doesn't affect you anymore. Like a common one is like 1, 2, or 3% or something of health. That way you're able to still like do a counter or a pushback or something, and it doesn't incentivize people to just spam the hell out of you. I mean, there are complete infinite combos in this game, and I mean that's fine. I mean, you have long combos, and for people that are skilled enough to learn those things. My problem comes in where you are incentivizing people like Echo players and or Ari spammers that like to have the 2x assist on. So what they'll do is they'll just have Echo constantly pressuring the hell out of you, and then they just have freaking Ari just constantly doing something, and Echo has the most repeat regurgitated nonsense that he can just do, because he can just keep on TPing away from you every time that you even try to react. And if you're playing as an Aloy and you're a Aloy main, your character is not even fast enough to break up anything that he's doing. So it's just it's very frustrating. Unless he gives you even like a incremental amount of space, it allows you to kind of like throw in a little jab there, or a little crouch sweep, or just even like a little poke of some sort, right? You know, play a little footsies or something. It is just like most Echo players aren't giving you, most good Echo players aren't giving you that space to do that. And if you're playing as Ari or something like that, you might have a good chance of reacting because your speed is a little higher. However, the biggest problem with Ari is you still have the lowest health in the game, but she doesn't have like crazy damage either. So that's my issue with Ari. You know, you look at a character like Akuma, for example, in Street Fighter, all Street Fighters, he always has the least amount of health because he will always do the most damage out of everyone in the game. Ari has the highest speed and mobility in 2XKO Alpha Lab, right? But she has the trade-off for speed is lower health. That doesn't make any sense to me, you know? I mean, you can make it make sense, but I don't think that makes sense. The trade-off for speed is super low health. Of course, I don't know the actual backgrounds of these characters other than what I've read in 2XKO. I understand that they come from League, but that alone, this isn't League. This is a fighting game that should be balanced and well-rounded around the concept of being a fighting game first versus taking lore and everything from League. There are two entirely different games that just share characters. So I feel like that definitely should be worked on. That's a good thing to tweak. I'm glad that he mentioned something about damage, because I remember that I mentioned something about damage to people and to them.
What's your whole take on this? I know you made a blog post, but
I think like the first thing to know is that, you know, we're sharing this very early, right? And a lot earlier than
this is very early.
And I think the reason is we really wanted to see a lot of feedback so we could change it in time for release and just make it a better game.
True.
To that note, though, you know, we heard a lot of feedback that people were having a lot of fun with combos.
Yeah, they're fun as hell.
You know, for some characters and some specific routes, either were actually too long or just felt too long. You know, that's one of the things we want to address. We want to find.
All right. So I'm a little confused and mixed on that. How can a combo feel too long? Is it because of the speed at which the combos is going on? I'm sorry, I gotta get a new chair. Like, my arm piece has been broken. My uncle came over. Anyway, that's a whole nother topic. Like, so what do you mean the combos are too long? Like, I need that to be cleared up. What does that mean for you? I don't know if he's gonna like go deep into it, but a combo being too long for me is maybe if you're playing a game like Tekken and you can literally, like, you can physically see inside of your combo list, this is a very long string combo to do this whole thing. Like, you could actually say, yeah, this combo is long for something like that. You can't really say your combo is long for, I guess, like anything else. Not really. It's just like, you don't have to do that with this type of game. So it's like you're making your own combos. You know, you're making your own combos similarly to games like Street Fighter. Like, this isn't a game that has set combo strings in place. There's stuff that fits and strings together that you have to find out unless you're playing on the pulse mode, or I guess we'll know that you can still figure out a good combo string with that. Yeah, you know, like that type of stuff. I'm not really keen on what you're talking about with a combo being long, because you could just opt in to not do that long version of the combo. You know, that's not really a fault of the developer.
Sweet spot where you're getting back to neutral and having fun there, but also you're rewarded for being able to practice and execute on some pretty cool stuff, not just by yourself, but often with a friend as well.
I believe you spoke to it in your blog about the tutorial, and that's one of the places.
Yeah, the tutorial is nice.
Have plans.
Another great piece of.
The thing about the tutorial is it only teaches you how to play based off of the pulse, because it tells you to just press square 5 times, press triangle 5 times, and do a combo. It doesn't teach you how to play off of your own. They don't have character specific tutorials to learn how to do certain combos and mix up strings and whatever. So you actually have to lab that yourself.
The feedback we heard from a lot of folks was, hey, they were like, this tutorial is pretty bare bones, and they've been like actually giving us a lot of thoughts around things they want to see in it. Cool. I think just to kind of
Okay, I think a good thing to have as feedback, in case you guys ever watch this, devs of 2XKO Riot Games, you guys have been pretty cool and chill with me, especially me on the channel. You know, I've played Valorant a lot, and I've talked to a lot of you guys on the dev team inside of my chats. On top of that, you know, you were very compassionate and willing to give me a code to play on the channel and invite a friend and stuff. So I appreciate you guys over at Riot Games. I know y'all get a lot of flack and y'all have gotten a lot of shit from me as well. I apologize, but at the same time, I'm just trying to make the game better, and I'll be saying stuff that a lot of people in the community is thinking, but don't want to say, even if I don't get the views that all these other people get for saying it. I'm just going to be truthful, and that's just what it is. Now, to my point, I think that having the option menu, like when you go into the practice, not training mode, by the way, when you go into practice mode, that whichever it is, you get what I'm saying. When you go into the mode that it actually teaches you the controls, a little window should pop up and ask you, are you playing on classic, like something like, you know, oh, you're playing traditional type of things, or are you going to play with like auto combos or the post mode? Because I know that that's the recommended way to play, and of course that's going to be the recommended way to play because that's where you can have most fun and you can learn like how to just mix up and do different stuff based off of just auto combo tech, right? And I've kind of gotten to the point where after playing Street Fighter 6 for so long now, I'm starting to understand the conversation around auto combos. I'm not necessarily opposed to them. I think if you are going to do auto combos, they should be damage scaled much severely than regular classic combo strings, just because of that extra effort you have to put into learning the game. On top of that, I feel as if that's your playstyle, that's your playstyle, and nobody should be able to take that away from you. You know how to play the game that way, and that's a fun way for you to play the game. They'll play the game that way, you know. I just give us the option of which one we're going to try to practice with, because your practice mode was essentially useless for learning the controls for everyone else because it didn't show what your button presses were on the side of the screen. You have to figure out that by going into the training mode yourself and then turning the options on and turning the frame data on and stuff. So if you are going to have an actual practice mode that's going to like tutorial teach you how to play the game, the reason I think people are saying is bare bones is just because there wasn't enough options there. All your stuff is in the training mode or something of that nature. You get what I'm saying? It's confusing in my head. Practice, training, they're the same thing to me.
Reiterate a couple of those. At a high level, folks wanted to see some combo trials with their champions.
Combo trials, that's a good one.
Like first level strategy with a character. You know, hey, if I try this character, what should I be doing? As opposed to, hey, you know, I'm learning pulse and some of the basics. We also heard like, hey, I want to see more defensive mechanics shown right away so I can protect myself.
Oh, that would be a good one. If they had like a tutorial, like, okay, so their practice mode, if they in that practice mode, they have a little like window that pops up with what do you want to practice with, right? So you have combo trials, you have learning just how to play the basic with like the auto combos and stuff. On top of that, there should be one that teaches you and allows you to do like the practice mode with the with your different, what I can't remember what it's called, it's not post, but you know what I'm talking about, that little extra skill thing where you can choose like 2x assist and all that. So having a dedicated mode inside of the practice mode that shows you like a standard combo that you could do with using 2x assist, or a standard combo that you could do with using Fury, or, you know, like it actually goes in depth and gives you like one basic combo that you can do using these extra kind of add-ons to your playstyle, and that way it kind of teaches you how to use them. Because again, most of that is done like in your own labbing. So I feel like that type of labbing should be used for figuring out more intricate levels things. And then the practice mode should be used for learning like basic stuff about the game that the devs are willing to put time into, showing you here's one combo string that you can go to. So that way you always have like one combo string in your bag that you can always pull out that you learned when you was going through this like little tutorial section. And then you can get like all that extra stuff from actually going into the training mode and like really putting your foot to the metal and like learning what you need to learn.
And so these are all things we're considering and looking into, and expect it to be a lot better in the next iteration.
I want to dig a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get another
the overall complexity.
I don't know if we're gonna get like a
what are the
second
thoughts around
beta
that?
or something.
You know, we expected a lot of this.
I'm
However, like, we
hoping,
wanted to see additional.
and I'll stop talking for a little while, but I'm hoping that we are able to get a second launch of like this beta or something, because I know that this beta is only lasting like a couple more days or something at this point. Are we going to continue to be able to like practice offline? Is it not even going to allow us to log in? Like, what are we going to be doing with what we have downloaded on our systems, consoles, all of that at this moment? Or is the game just going to be completely inept? Or is it like, oh, we can still practice and just play offline type stuff here? And if we do happen to invite a friend over, we can do like couch play to practice like how a real competition may go. Or, you know, I guess we have the practice mode where you can fight against the other, like the AI and the computer, the CPU. So that would be great to clear up, unless they already announced that they're going to do another codes and another wave of like a beta or something. But, you know, the game's coming out in 2025. It's up to them on if that's what they want to do. Maybe after they work on it a little bit, they might do that. And by the way, I know you probably hear my dogs. They're like right under me and they're playing a lot. And then they're going inside the living room playing a lot because my studio is like open directly to them at the moment. It's the morning. I record these in early as heck in the morning. They deserve to play before I go to work for 9 hours and my wife comes home after 9-10 hours of work. Like, they need to have playtime and stuff. I live in an apartment, okay? So that's why they are playing now. I let them get their play and their energy out. So I don't want to hear any comments about like, what is that? Like, you might, that's fine, but like, I don't want to hear like negative comments like, oh, he always has dogs playing in the background. Like, I get it, bro, but like, they're family and they have a life too.
We want matches to go a little bit more.
All right, I'm gonna rewind this a little bit. So I just want to listen to what they're saying a little bit more now before I comment.
We're digging into this, and what do I mean? What do I mean by that? Well,
I might have lied, but you know,
a little bit more quickly, be a little bit faster paced.
So they made damage higher.
You know, when paired with, hey, 2 champions like hitting a single character, or some of our fuses like Double Down, which lets you combo super into super, or even Fury, which lets you get a boost of extra damage when you're low on health. These are some of the things we expected to see. We definitely saw folks pushing on a lot of the outliers where they would use multiple Double Down super into supers in a combo, as well as like using multiple OTG like on the ground hits. And so it was great to see all this and hear feedback on it. Ultimately, just to underscore, we don't want the game to be about touch of deaths, right? We want them to exist.
I mean,
spend a ton of resources and be rare.
That's how it's coming off now.
It's something we want to address, and we're looking into that now.
I want to also ask you about the overall complexity of the game. There's been a lot of discourse on both sides of people.
I don't think the game is like that complex though.
And then other people feeling that it's too hard to get into. What is
But it's not that hard to get into. Especially if you just have the post stuff, you know, the recommended, you know, you can just jump into the game and have fun. The complexities is the fact that people that are playing this game at the moment, especially in this beta, are good at fucking fighting games. So, you know, you're not playing against slouches unless you're playing against me. You know, I'm trash. That's different. There's not many me's out in the world. There's only one me, right? So that means if you run into me, you got a good chance of winning your fight. I know a couple of combos here and there, but I know for sure I don't spend enough time to like sit down and dedicate time to it. Like I said, I'd love to stream it and really like get down to the nitty gritty of the game. But I've always had a problem with like remembering super long combo strings. So my take on stuff has always been short, sweet combos that I can extend. What are my combo extenders, right? That's what I use Ari for. I can do something with Aloy, boom, 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 slam the tentacle down, they're up in the air, she does her back assist, makes the freaking like Vegeta from Fighters, the little key blast, I don't know, her little will-o-wisp, hit them up a little bit more. I can do another little whip, pull them down, do my like anti-air, put them in the air, and then I can do like a level 2, or I can do a level 1 S1 super, because S2 super is just the tentacles coming up. Or if I do have double down on, I'll do the S1 super, and then after that, like doing a lot with the little slam and they're like slightly in the air a little bit, I'll just do the S2 super for Ari, continue that. Like, that's a good combo extender, and I can't do infinites. It's very rare that I can do infinites in like any fighting game. I can learn the 10-hit combos in Tekken. For some reason, my brain can remember those, but you ask me to do infinites in games like Street Fighter and anything else, my brain just doesn't remember it. It just does not, and I like to react. I'm a reactionary fighter, so, you know, unless you're fighting me, you're good. I don't think the game is that complex. It's just like any other fighting game in this style, in this genre of fighting games, like this subcategory of fighting games, where you just have to learn what your mix-up is. I don't see this being a more complex game than Street Fighter, or a more complex game than Blaze Blue Cross Tag. Like, it's a cross tag fighting game that you can have these little abilities on your character to help you out with certain scenarios. You know, if you want to do double down, you can do double down, you can do double assist, you can just do the auto combo mode, you could do the extra damage when you're below 40% health. And I'm sure they're gonna add more of that stuff in the game. If not, just keep this stuff that we can practice and just learn, and the community can just make videos on and stuff. So I don't see what the problem really is on the level of complexity. It's just learning the characters and learning what characters fit best together, versus just, these are my favorite characters, these look cool. What character fits best with like your main? You might have a character on your team that you know how to play with somewhat, but you know deep down they're really just your support. That's how I kind of am with Ari. I kind of know how to play with her, but my main is Aloy, for sure, Aloy. So I don't know.
Yeah,
it's not that complex.
You know, we talked a little bit about the pulse fuse,
but that could just be me, how I think.
Right away, hit some buttons, and we're seeing a lot of that. I think there's a little more we could do there as well. This actually kind of ties into onboarding and maybe unlocking moments later on where it's like, hey, like if you want to graduate, you can go into this like early player experience, check out this champion, you know, see like how you can actually learn the routes from there. There's a lot of systems in this game. That's because we do want a deep game. We want like a crunchy, deep, like you can spend many hours in this game. And so
for years, right?
Yeah, and so like we also recognize like, you know, there's an opportunity for players to say,
yeah,
like,
shout
hey,
out Riot Games for
let me
diving out and expanding their field.
Have a really clear path to the next step. We don't want people to be overwhelmed.
This is Riot Games' first fighting game, right?
It's a fine line to ride, and it's something that we're working on right now.
I think so.
So that brings us into the next
I
thing,
love their lobby system.
Matchmaking and netcode. I know there's been some Reddit threads. People are like, "There's no matchmaking," but I feel like there's things going on under the hood that might explain it a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, there's been times where I would matchmake with something and immediately spike in ping, but it will only be on the rematch. So like either I would win a fight or they would win a fight, and as soon as we agree to rematch, all of a sudden our ping is like 300, and then it will drop, and it's constantly jittering the whole rematch. And that happened very frequently. Another thing that happened a lot of the times is trying to get into a game, my play button was completely grayed out and said you are not online, and that happened very often. I couldn't even go into a private area with my I couldn't go into a private lobby with my homie Dom to practice how our combo strings would work together. So we just had to figure that out together in casual and just like communicate a lot with each other. Okay, so at this moment my camera froze, and for some reason the audio just completely cut out of my microphone. I'm not sure what was going on. I think just a little glitch with my PC. Anyways, what I was essentially saying was every time I tried to go into practice mode, something would happen. And anytime I even tried to move, once we were actually connected and inside of like a practice session with Dom, everything would just fall apart. Either the game would crash, or the lobby would crash, or we would just get booted back to the main menu. Something would happen, and that's essentially what I was saying. So hopefully they can get that fixed up by time release, or the next beta, next playtest, whatever is going to be going on. And that was a massive pain in the ass.
Select fight, and you decide to invite.
Other than that, the aesthetic of everything here, super cool. I love that.
Matching you up with folks of similar skill. We're also looking at a bunch of other
skill-based matchmaking.
We've definitely heard and seen a lot of feedback around folks getting matched with players in other regions with very high ping, and so this has been great because this has uncovered a lot more work we could do here. On top of that, though,
skill-based matchmaking doesn't seem that wrong.
Matchmaking's not working. there's a lot of things that could be at play. Like we've also seen folks using pulse fuse versus folks that aren't early on, and those matches feeling very lopsided. So that's one thing. I'll allude a little bit to some features that we wanted to get in that we don't have yet. One of them is we want to be able to nudge you and give you a pop-up if your skill starts to deviate, whether you're getting too good for this current lobby, or you're falling a little bit behind.
That's a little cool.
Do you want to go to another lobby? And a pop-up will appear. You can hit yes, and it'll put you into a more appropriate skill lobby.
That's cool.
We also
That's
are gonna
cool.
have a feature later where if you get really far beyond the bounds, it'll be like, hey, we want to get you in another lobby just to ensure that you have a better experience, and it will send you to a new one. But in
that's pretty cool.
Today, if you're playing in the Alpha Lab, if you feel like, oh man, I'm getting beat up a lot in here, like why is everybody a bunch of killers? Or hey, like this is getting a little bit too easy. Maybe your win streak's going too hot, too high.
Yeah, I went against somebody that had a 12 win streak,
and it will find you a more appropriate lobby. And so I strongly recommend that in the future.
If I could, anytime I tried to leave the lobby, it just closed.
Comeback potential.
It just crashed my game.
And so we're looking at Last Stand and seeing how well that's performing when it comes to comebacks and
Last Stand.
Making the matches feel like you have a chance.
Oh, right.
That's a lot of feedback we heard as well, and we really appreciate it.
I didn't find it too useful with my character specifically. Aloy is good with it, but
absolutely.
So TLDR.
I mean, Ari.
If the lobby's too hard, exit out.
Ari is good with the Last Stand. Aloy not so much, but she's good with combo mix-ups with her Last Stand.
Back on. Cool. So to dig in a little
okay,
bit
that's
more
cool. I actually really like that.
I've heard and seen reports of really good matchmaking, and then sometimes not so great. What is going on there? Can you elaborate a little bit?
That's a great question. So first of all, that's one of the reasons we're doing this test. We're testing in
it's a dope shirt,
regions,
by the way.
Just to see, how folks are getting routed and what kind of experience they're having. And so it's something we're looking into actually right now. I don't have a specific answer for you, but I would just want to say like, hey, if anybody's experiencing like really weird connections or like super high ping, continue to let us know, because that actually lets us like dig in even further. We just want to make a really good, clean experience. And so the more info we can get and feedback from folks, the better.
I'm glad that they're very communicative and getting into a lot of the community. That's something I've always been huge on. That's why I really enjoy like CDPR, right? With like Cyberpunk, Witcher. They've always been a company that's been very vocal, and they've been very open to listening to their community, because that's who is playing your game, right? After you make your game, you're probably not playing it that much. You already spent years on it. You might play it here and there and just have fun with it, but a lot of the times you learn how to put updates and patches out because you're listening to your community. So like, I appreciate any game studio out there that has an open line of communication that's not just a regurgitated robot, or an AI response or some PR response. Like, give us true communication. You have a good social media manager. You have a good team that's behind you, that's willing to work on things and understand that you are wrong. I love that type of communication, because eventually you're just going to be right at everything. We're going to let you know when you're good. We're going to let you know when you're bad. We're going to let you know when it could be a little better, but it's fine. That's huge for me. Communication is such a huge thing in my books. Always going to be a huge thing in my books.
That this is on our radar, right?
Yeah. So first of all, we want to thank everybody for bearing with us on this. There's, we've seen a lot of pain around folks being like, hey, I can't get this peripheral to work, or hey, like it's holding up forever, like a phantom up direction, or any number of other issues. And so, yeah, this is something we're taking really seriously. Thanks to everybody that submitted tickets to player support, and please continue to do so, because that's helping us track everything, like what peripheral you're using, like where you're playing on PC or on console. And so all this information, we're collating it, and it's something that we're taking very seriously and going to address.
Yeah, one thing that I want to point out too, because you mentioned player support, they've been absolutely amazing. If you have any connection issues, or if you're stuck on login, please reach out to player support. We've already had a number of people who've been able to get in after reaching out to player support. So just want to spread that word. So make sure to reach out to player support. We'll put the link in the, bio. We'll figure that out. Now that we've talked about peripherals, can we talk about the control scheme? Because I've seen people discussing,
Control scheme isn't difficult. It's the fact that you didn't have like an allotted section to change the controls that we understood. Like, there was no, this, 2S is this button. Something of that nature would be very useful, so that way you can change it to a liking that's good for you. I had to go into the practice mode or whatever the training mode to like actually figure out what the control scheme actually was. You get what I'm saying? So having something in the settings would be extremely useful, very useful.
Just can't get used to it. What is, like, as game director, what are you thinking when you see all of this?
Yeah, so we'll be the first to admit that we're trying something a little different. You know, having a special 1, a special 2 button.
That's fine.
You know,
that's
our
fine.
Light, medium, heavy, and then our team button. It's definitely a really different feel. We've heard a lot of mixed reviews. Folks that have never played fighting games, folks that have tried games, folks that go hardcore, even at pro level.
I always gotta like take a step back and realize that not everybody has been playing fighting games or even just games as long as I have. So some things are like recognizable, right? You kind of just like know that a down medium or a down heavy is typically like a kick or some kind of sweep or something of that nature. Or there might be dedicated buttons on a controller, Xbox, PlayStation, or on the computer that's dedicated to kicks and sweeps and stuff of that nature. So again, I don't think that's necessarily a problem. And also a lot of people, they're playing this for the first time because League, right? They're trying to try something out new. It's Riot Games. They're a huge fan of it, and that's their only thing. For like the average people that's playing this game, I would say the average person is already a fighting game player or not, if not really indulging themselves like in a ranked scene of some sort. The casual plays felt great too, by the way. Anyways, I think it's fine. We just need to have a controller layout scheme so we can change the buttons to what we want. That's all I'm asking, or all I'm saying. That's probably like the better answer there.
We have a lot of pros and cons, about our current setup. Yeah. And so, if you have thoughts, I'd ask folks to keep letting us know. It's something we're keeping an eye on and monitoring. And yeah, I just want to acknowledge that we've heard a lot of discussion about it, and we want to keep an eye on it. And like one thing I wanted to ask is for folks that have thoughts, any kind of thoughts on their layout, we'd also love to hear what peripherals they're using, because that makes a big difference as well. We want to make sure the game feels good for your peripheral, no matter which one you're using. So let us know.
Another really big topic has been accessibility. I'm looking at your notes, and there's been really good notes from OGamer Sego, Aerial Combo, Blind Combat, and Kid Vision, who have been talking about it. Can you talk a little bit about the team's philosophy in regards to accessibility?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, shout out to that group of folks and others who have hit us up about accessibility. We take accessibility very seriously. We want everybody to be able to enjoy 2XKO. And so we have some devs dedicated to this specifically. And I just want to call it, like, when the game comes out, it's going to be a bit bare bones in that regard. Yeah. However, we're going to continue to add features to that over time and make it better and better.
Okay, well, they're already saying they're going to add some more into it.
I feel like the whole team's excited because this is working exactly how we wanted it to work, right? Like, this is Alpha Lab in all of its glory of us learning so much about the game.
I can't say this enough. I know sometimes it could be hard to get your thoughts out there, and I really appreciate everybody hitting me up directly with feedback, with thoughts, suggestions, hitting up the entire team really, whether it's content you're making, streams, literally comments on like a YouTube video, subreddit, you name it. Like we're everywhere, and so please keep it coming.
What is your perspective?
Okay,
of taking
I'll try to communicate more.
How do we actually parse through it to make our decisions?
We often say here, and you probably hear me say it, that we're very data informed, not data driven. So we're looking at the data, we're looking at the sentiment from players, we're looking at the player feedback, and we're playing the game, and we're watching and seeing what's happened across all skill levels, and we use all that together to make decisions. But we have a set of design goals and values for this product, and so we're going to stick to those. However, we're going to learn new information. We're going to evolve it over time. I want to be like crystal clear that like, hey, we're not designing by committee, excuse me, but we are building this with the players. And what that means is that we're listening and we're taking that into account. We're not afraid.
Again, I love the communication here.
Our baseline assumptions.
Yeah, from everything that I've heard from you in the past, you definitely want to keep the depth, but you still want to hear what everyone's experiencing so we can find new ways to address it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Even the stuff we talked about earlier around like, a better onboarding or, hey, like matchmaking, players are telling us, hey, like we want to make it easier.
Another thing that people are, at least myself, I'm going to speak for myself, and if you agree, let me know in the comments below, is transparency. Again, that goes back to the whole controller thing. Just having transparency with how to play the game is huge, especially when it's your first time getting into the game. Look at the onboarding. Again, this is an alpha lab. This is a beta test. This is in that realm of of early phases. But you look at something like Street Fighter 6, for example, or 5, but mostly 6 because that's the most recent example that I can pull from. When you go into that game and then you go into the different modes, it has like a huge pop-up window telling you how to play the game, telling you what the mode's about, telling you how to kind of do stuff, how to progress in those areas. If it's like the ranked mode, it tells you about the whole lobby system, how they try to do it, how many points you need to get to the next rank, what's the max rank, what's the lowest rank. They tell you what the casual lobbies are for, and they have a dedicated training mode, moves list, all that. They have a controller out scheme if you want to change your controllers. They have a really good onboarding kind of setup for you. So people like transparency much more than you would think. A lot of people love to complain on YouTube videos and on streams that nobody wants to read, is too long, TLDR, and always try to summarize shit. But when you play the game, or any of these games, whether it's a fighting game or not, you love transparency. You love to sit there and understand what's going on. Now, we understand if it's a game like Fallout or something where you have to constantly read different notes and different audio logs and all that type of stuff. I get that. Those criticisms, much more understandable. But when you really sit down and think about it, nobody's truly complaining that there's a tutorial menu telling you how to play the game. Not only is it physically letting you see what's going on screen, and there's maybe a small video, or it gives you the button prompts to do it yourself, but it also has like their paragraph for people that are able to read it better. So that's also technically an accessibility feature. Anyways, people love transparency, whether it's the company and the community communicating with each other, or them implementing features in the game that come out at launch that give you much more explanation of the controls and how the game plays in the game systems and all of those types of things. There should be something that kind of pops up, and I'm a pretty firm believer of this. There should be something that pops up for a brand new game the first time or two that you go into it, and there should be a menu in settings to turn on and toggle if you want tutorial messages to show back up after you're first going through, right? Because a lot of YouTubers kind of like speed through their stuff for video purposes, even though you could literally edit it out. So it doesn't make any sense to speed through those types of things, not in my opinion. Unless you're confident and you already know the game. But I know I'm getting really long-winded. I know I get long-winded all the freaking time. But anyways, my point is people love transparency. Adding in those options where it's a pop-up menu every time you click on something for the first time, and then giving us the ability to turn those back on after the first time, be huge. Just, you never know how many people actually use those features in the game.
To have quality matches early on, yeah, we agree. And so we're going to look into that stuff, and a lot of times the feedback we get lines up with stuff we want to do anyway, which is my favorite
random
part.
stuff.
It's because we're all on the same page. Sometimes we're not, though.
People that use auto combo stuff with people that use auto combo stuff. But you can't. You really can't, because somebody just might choose it mid lobby.
Even though we let some more people in, I've still seen fan art contests. A lot of people want to get in. So if they didn't get in this Alpha Lab, when is the next time that they're going to get a shot?
Okay.
Great question. So as you would expect, we're getting a ton of feedback, and there's actually a lot of stuff we want to change in order to improve the game. So there's going to be some time. We need a little bit of heads down time to get this stuff in and also test it. But boy, we've heard a lot of folks that are like, hey, is there another wave coming? Can I get in? So yeah. What if we just let some more folks in tomorrow?
Wow. Okay.
All right. Can we just do it?
Yeah. I mean, can I do this? Can we do this? Is it? Can we? Great.
Jared says yes.
All right.
That's great.
Everybody around me
If you haven't gotten a chance to get into the game, go ahead and get into the game.
This will be the last wave. There's not a lot of time left in Alpha Lab, but yeah, we heard y'all. Many more people want to play, so why not? So be on the lookout for another wave.
Well, I appreciate it. Everybody, remember to fill out your survey at the end of
I have. I'm going to reach out to you guys.
Monitor social media, Twitch, YouTube, everywhere. So we really appreciate you. So thank you.
Thank you. Hit us up. Let us know what you think.
Lovely video. I love that they did this. It's so useful. I love that they're talking to the community here. I don't really have any more thoughts because I voiced all my thoughts mid video. I warned you going in. The only other thing I would add is just be mindful of everybody. It's hard to do that, and a lot of people love to say we don't like early access stuff. Just finish the game. People are getting money. Companies are getting money and support from putting out an unfinished game. Well, it works. It clearly works. Beta test and early access things work. The only thing that it does, the only thing that's negative I feel like about those types of things is that you could kill maybe the image of like a lot of issues that's going on in the game, and you could kill your image of the game if there's so many issues, and then people just give it the excuse of, oh, it's an early access, it's an early access, and then people are like, well, it's been early access for like 2-3 years, when is it going to come out, right? Or the YouTube scene has already put out millions of videos, so by the time the actual game comes out, nobody's like paying attention to it, so it's like not in the algorithm anymore, and that sucks for a lot of smaller creators. I can speak from that perspective. So yeah, you know, I say that because I've heard a lot of people talk to me about like, well, they should just put the game in early access. Yeah, well, that's good, but I don't know if that's gonna work for this game. You let me know what you think down below. Yeah, you know, we're getting another alpha test, another beta test at some point. It seems like, you know, he was very ambiguous about it. It does seem like we're gonna get one at some point, but he's just saying, hey, it's gonna take us some time to actually put all the stuff that we want to have fixed in the game into the game and play test that. So he's not guaranteeing that we're gonna have one, but it's the possibility is high, is what I'm hearing. But anyways, if you enjoyed the vibes, make sure you slide subscribe, let me know down below, and let me know your thoughts, for real. I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe out there.
I never felt like I never felt like